Dr. Kunzumuddin, a senior IVF specialist in India, started his career in 1997 and was instrumental in starting many IVF centers inside and outside the state of Kerala. He is the managing director and chief IVF specialist, ARMC IVF at Kozhikode, Kerala, visiting specialist gynecologist Rashidia Clinic, Dubai, and visiting gynecological laparoscopic surgeon at Dubai, visiting specialist gynecologist Premium Care Clinic at Doha. He has been an invited faculty member to many conferences at state, national, and international level. He is going to talk on low dose HCG for luteal phase rescue in GnRH antagonist cycle.
And here I would like to present on low dose HCG for luteal phase rescue in GnRH antagonist cycles with agonist trigger for ICSI. The background is that decreased pregnancy rate in agonist triggered antagonist cycles were demonstrated in high responders while during fresh ET despite excellent luteal phase support with estrogen and progesterone in enough doses. Humaydan et al. And his study, he has studied a lot on this topic regarding the HCG support and the decreased pregnancy rate in the agonist triggered cycles. And there is increased incidence of OHSS reported, which requires hospitalization in 2% of cases, even if it is agonist triggered and the fresh transfer is being done. And after all, there is increased cost of treatment in all freeze frozen frozen thawed cycles, because we do get a lot of patients from outside India, mainly from the Middle East. So for them, it is very much inconvenient if it is a frozen cycle to come in a later cycle for the transfer, frozen thaw transfer. And not only that, it increases the cost of the treatment by doing the freezing. GnRH antagonist is a reversible, rapid and short-action drug. It acts on the pituitary and remains reactive to agonist trigger as an alternative to HCG because of its short action. And GnRH agonists are as effective as HCG to induce an adequate final follicular maturation. In fact, it is better than an HCG trigger. Agonist releases FSH in addition to LH. This is a comparable difference between HCG trigger and agonist trigger. This increased FSH secretion also induces LH receptor formation in the corpus luteum, and it optimizes the corpus luteal function. And in many of the studies reported that the increased in number of M2 oocytes recovered in the agonist triggered cycles than in the HCG cycles. In spite of this, it is associated with negative clinical results, low implantation rate, low clinical pregnancy rate, and a high rate of pregnancy loss, mainly due to the luteal phase deficiency. Implantation remains normal in oocyte recipients and frozen thawed cycles post-agonist trigger. So, the pregnancy rate in the frozen cycles and the fresh cycles of this the agonist triggered cycles are quite different, and that itself shows that it doesn't have any impact on the oocytes or on the embryo. And luteal support with HCG arises as an alternative, low dose HCG in many of the studies by Humaydan. But how? Without the risk of further OHSS. So we had a prospective study conducted between April 2012 to September 2012. And the inclusion criteria were IVF or ICSI, the procedures selected, and female age between 20 to 40 years, and BMI of more than 18 and less than 35. High risk of OHSS, mainly PCOS patients. That's total dominant follicles of more than 16 millimeter in 14 numbers on the last day of stimulation, that is on the day of trigger. Ovarian stimulation was done with the recombinant FSH Recagon from cycle day 2 to it started 100 to 200 units for 6 days, and the dose adjusted according to the ovarian response. Antagonist fixed day protocol, cetrorelix 0.25 milligram subcutaneously daily, continued and up to and including the day of trigger. And single bolus injection of leprolide acetate at 2 milligram subcutaneously were given, and oocytes were retrieved 34 hours later. An injection HCG 1500 units IM after oocyte retrieval, that happens mostly on the 35th hour after the trigger. Then on the day of embryo transfer, and then 3 days later. So total 3 doses. Serum beta HCG done on 12th day of embryo transfer and positive biochemical pregnancy were demonstrated if it is more than 100 units. And transvaginal sonography was done 3 weeks after the positive beta HCG. Main outcomes measured were the incidence of OHSS and the ongoing pregnancy rate per cycle. And this is a prospective descriptive study, and the demographic data analyzed were baseline FSH, baseline LH, age, BMI, and cycle number. And stimulation date ranged between 10 to 12, and total FSH used was around 1200 units. And serum estradiol on the trigger day was around 3000. And oocytes 21.5 plus or minus 6, that is around 24 oocytes were retrieved on an average. And fertilization rate was 92.6% and cleavage rate was 87%, and embryos transferred, we generally transfer 2 to 3 embryos. And the pregnancy outcome measured positive HCG test per cycle, that is biochemical pregnancy rate of 44.3% and clinical pregnancy rate of 36.7%. And we didn't have any early pregnancy loss because these patients were followed up to 3 months. And we had 6 cases of, out of these 100 cases, we had 6 cases of clinically significant late OHSS and 3 required admission. And all cases were twin pregnancies. And to discuss further on this topic, and the important fact that there were no early onset ovarian hyperstimulations, and high clinical pregnancy rate in patients at high risk of OHSS, that is comparable to the HCG triggered fresh cycles. And the overall incidence of OHSS in high risk patients undergoing COH has been reported as 32% in various studies. This is the average incidence of OHSS in HCG triggered cycles. And identification of high risk patients, there are a lot of criteria used. In one criteria by Ash et al., it is estradiol on the day of HCG more than 6,000, and if it is a retrieval of more than 30 oocytes. And another study by Papnikolo, it is more than 18 follicles of more than 11 millimeter on the trigger day. It has more specificity, that is 83% specificity. But despite intensive luteal phase support, in an early pregnancy loss of 80% in GnRH triggered patients were reported. Low pregnancy rate, that is due to abrupt decrease in steroid hormones, endometrial instability, and it compromised receptivity and implantation of in the endometrium. But here HCG, it's due to its potent luteotropic action, it restores endometrial stability and receptivity. GnRH agonist trigger reduces OHSS, that's a demonstrated thing, that is due to the luteolysis causing decreased VEGF concentration and initiate the apoptosis cascade in the granulosa cells. And subsequent pituitary depression suppression also helps. HCG administered 35 hours after agonist restores luteal phase without causing further OHSS. To conclude, use of HCG in luteal phase post-agonist trigger is associated with normalization of clinical pregnancy rate. It supports the concept of reducing OHSS as well because it is in the low dose. Single embryo transfer may be an important complement to the protocol, which can be highly recommended. And it allows the transfer of embryos in fresh cycles and reduce the cost of treatment in that particular stimulation cycle. And now we are in the, because this is only a prospective study, now we are in the case controlled randomized study between the, what will be the exact dose, because many studies have reported 500 units, some studies have reported 1000 units, some studies in 1500 units. So there is no consensus on this what does this low dose means. So we are comparing the dosage of HCG and also comparing the just without HCG also. So I think I can present the data in the next meeting. Thank you. Thank you for the patient hearing, and I acknowledge this to our colleagues, Dr. Srija, Dr. Premu, Dr. Bhavin Balakrishnan, and he's here, Dr. Venugopal and Dr. Hesina.